BatSheva are being funded, in part at least, by the Israeli state, by 2 Israeli arms manufacturers, and by the JNF, which means they are deeply part of the whole Zionist story, which in itself is deeply racist against Palestinian people. Not racist in any casual sense, I mean murderous. And we are definitely responding to that. We do not want to see the Israelis behaving with such contempt.
It's a very strong statement, calling the Israelis murderers.
I mean the Israeli state, and murderers is, how else would you describe it? I mean, how else would you describe the murder of children? How else would you describe the 1,400 people who were killed just a few years ago, most of whom were civilian? Murder is very mild.
Israel's position is weakening. The world civil society is less willing to put up with what Israel does, and so the governments are becoming more responsive.
Internationally and at the grassroots, and by far the majority of people are very condemning of Israel.
The Palestinian people democratically elected a Hamas government, perhaps to everybody's surprise. Israel then put a boycott, a blockade all around Gaza, and has left them on semi-starvation rations. This is not the conditions under which one can have a viable economy.
Let me just say, let's look at this moment. You may know that what Gilad Sharon was saying just a few days ago. I mean, essentially he was saying, let's nuke Gaza. I'm exaggerating just a little bit. I'm responding to your question that no one wants to see people killed. But in fact, there is a number of Israelis in prominent positions who are speaking, I have to say this, like they're genocidal maniacs. Well, this is now, we have to deal with it now if we're going to look in the future, and we have to deal with these people.
In the long term, Israel's current position is unviable. It's only a question of when and how they will come to some kind of reasonable terms with their Palestinian neighbours.
It was put to me that whatever you will give the Palestinian Authority, they will reject it.
What was offered was a poisoned chalice, which would have separated the Palestinian leadership from the Palestinian people, who would never have accepted it, because it was giving away their homeland.
Absolutely right. We have to start from 1948. So much of the land was stolen from Palestinian people. No, you have to remember who is the 4th largest military trading nation in the world on the one hand, and people who got very little in any form at all in the other. It's the elephant and the mouse you were saying earlier. There's an absolute huge disparity of power.
Well, certainly culture can build bridges. The question is that, what are the bridges for? Where do they get us? We've had free cultural exchange with Israel from 1948 onwards, and the bridges don't seem to have been very successful in securing greater understanding. And the
Palestinian people have been dispossessed from their land, from their homes, from their fields. Their demand is that they have the right to return from what was taken from them. That is absolutely central and crucial.
The Palestinians were deliberately thrown out and their villages destroyed. The only difference is some of the historians say, and we support that because we're gung-ho Zionists. Other historians say they were dispossessed and we think it's awful. But nobody disagrees that they were deliberately, there was a policy of throwing the Palestinians off their land and trying to get them out of the land.
JNF was involved deeply in that dispossession in 1947 and 48. We're part of an organising Stop the JNF campaign, and we hope that people...
Can I ask you who you represent, if you don't mind?
I'm from the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and ourselves and the Palestinian Boycott National Committee and others have initiated the Stop the JNF campaign. We had an early day motion in Parliament that called to look closely at revoking the JNF's charitable status. 66 MPs signed. That's well over 10% of the MPs. The JNF wrote to every MP saying, we want you to retract your signature. And because these people who asked you to sign are all anti-Semites, no one retracted their signature. We're looking soon to see that the charitable status of the JNF is revoked here and elsewhere. That will be very helpful for a start.
I say that we, as you may know, are both Jewish.
I didn't know that, sorry.
And we represent a very significant and growing tendency among the Jewish community here, who are fed up, that's putting it mildly, with Israel claiming to represent our views, which they do not.